Tokyo. Welcome to the TRIPELERS channel. Join us as we set off on a once-in-a-lifetime journey around the world. Over the next 133 days, we will visit 4 continents and make 55 stops across 27 countries.
And here it is, Tokyo, the largest metropolitan area in the world. The Greater Tokyo area is home to over 37 million people, which is more than the entire population of Poland. So, what's surprising? Despite the enormous number of residents and tourists, there are no traffic jams. Traffic flows smoothly, and the city is famous for having the best public transportation system in the world. Trains run every 2 to 3 minutes, and they are ultra punctual, which actually didn't end very well for us, but you'll hear that story in a moment. In Tokyo, owning a car is often seen as an unnecessary luxury, not a necessity. You also won't see trash on the streets. From an early age, Japanese people are taught to take responsibility for public space and to carry their waste home with them. This comes from their mindset, a culture of shame and respect for others, not from fear of fines. What Alex loved the most was that he never smelled cigarette smoke, something he really hates. Smoking is banned in most districts outside designated areas, and breaking the rules results in fines. What truly took our breath away was the contrast between modern, harmonious skyscrapers and places like Senso-ji, the oldest Buddhist temple in Tokyo. On one side, neon lights and surprising pop culture. On the other, spirituality, incense, and mystical silence. And towering above it all stands Tokyo Tower, inspired by the Eiffel Tower and the tallest structure in Japan, the 634-meter-high Tokyo Skytree. Join us on a fascinating, surprising, and yes, occasionally disastrous journey through Tokyo. We were incredibly excited when our ship finally arrived at the port everyone had been waiting for. The largest city in the world. That description really sparks the imagination. But what we didn't expect was to feel so normal here, so familiar, so calm. After visiting New York, a city more than twice as small, yet one that felt slightly overwhelming, I expected the same emotions here, just multiplied by 2. The distances are enormous, yet even Uber rides are smooth and surprisingly stress-free, with no traffic jams at all. That's especially striking when you compare it to New York, where we seem to be stuck in traffic constantly. The architecture is surprising as well. Most buildings look as if they were printed on a 3-dimensional printer. Muted colors, mostly shades of gray, no unnecessary details. They blend into the surroundings, don't compete for attention, and never tire the eyes. Our first stop is Senso-ji, the oldest Buddhist temple in Tokyo. In front of the temple stands one of the most frequently photographed symbols of Japan, Kaminarimon, the Thunder Gate, with its giant red lantern weighing several hundred kilograms. Senso-ji is over 1,300 years old and was almost completely destroyed during the bombing of Tokyo in the Second World War. Its reconstruction became a symbol of peace, rebirth, and hope. And for the Japanese people, Senso-ji remains the spiritual heart of the city. After visiting a temple that is over 1,300 years old, we moved on to a tower that is just over a decade old. Completed in February 2012, Tokyo Skytree is the tallest tower in the world. A tower, not a building. With Burj Khalifa in Dubai holding the title of the tallest building. The tower rises to a height of 634 meters, and this number is not accidental. It can be read as Mu for 6, Sa for 3, and Shi for 4, forming Mu-sa-shi, the name of the historic Musashi province, which once included the area where Tokyo now stands. Its main purpose is broadcasting and observation, and it was built to replace Tokyo Tower, which had become too short for modern skyscrapers. Skytree also houses the Tembo Observation Galleries, a large shopping and dining complex, and an aquarium. From the observation decks, you can admire a stunning panoramic view of Tokyo, take photos on the famous glass floor, watch the sunset, and, if the weather is kind, even see Mount Fuji. My personal impression is that despite the spectacular views and the chance to truly grasp the scale of the city, the overcrowding inside the observation deck can be distracting. There are no places where you can simply sit down and quietly watch the city. Even the cafe offers standing-only spots where people squeeze in next to each other and you can barely finish your drink. If you plan to watch or film the sunset, make sure to arrive at least 20 minutes earlier at a spot facing Mount Fuji. Otherwise, you simply won't be able to get close enough. A long selfie stick, like the one we used, can be helpful in such conditions, although it has its downsides as well. Because it reaches into distant corners of the space, we noticed that even the famous Japanese attention to detail has a few imperfections. After leaving the observation deck, you can buy souvenirs and explore the surrounding area, which we highly recommend. After sunset, the neighborhood is magically illuminated. After all these impressions, following the advice of an Uber driver we met earlier, whom we warmly greet, we decided to try Japanese food at Kura Sushi. And this is where technology meets a hungry traveler. To tame your hunger, you first have to figure out how to get inside. At the entrance, following the instructions, you need to decide whether you want to play the game or not, enter the number of people, pretend you understand what you are reading, and then take the printed receipt to your table. And honestly, these tables look pretty cool, right? Kura Sushi is one of the most popular conveyor belt sushi restaurant chains in Japan, so sometimes you do have to wait in line for a table. Sushi plates travel around the restaurant on a moving conveyor belt, but you can also order food and drinks directly from the touchscreen at your table. Your order then arrives on a separate conveyor belt straight to you. Everything is hidden inside the table: cutlery, chopsticks, sauces, and even matcha powder. You can make your own tea using the hot water tap available at every table. Kura Sushi also has a special attraction for kids. After eating at least 5 plates, you can play a game and win a small plastic capsule with a toy inside. So Dad decided to rise to the challenge. To increase Alex's chances, he started eating at full speed. And after plate number 20, I completely lost count of how much he had eaten. Besides sushi and inari, and of course drinks, we also tried soups and desserts. We ate an absolutely unreasonable amount of food. And then came the biggest surprise: the bill. We expected something around $100 to $150. Instead, we paid about $30. Inside, we saw many Japanese locals stopping by for dinner on their way home from work. And that did not surprise us at all. You can eat very fast, very cheaply, and very fresh. Whenever locals eat somewhere, we know we made the right choice. Unfortunately, it turned out that at the entrance, without really knowing what we were clicking, we chose the wrong option. Instead of, yes, we play the game, we clicked, no, we do not play the game. Which means all that parental sacrifice was for nothing. And Alex was a little disappointed. Okay, very disappointed. So we had no choice. We had to declare another battle with the sushi conveyor belt. But tomorrow, completely full and well-fed, we headed to the Asakusa district. Right next to the famous Senso-ji temple, we went to a sumo show, and we can truly recommend it to you. If you have very limited time in Tokyo, this is a great option. In one evening, you can learn about the history of sumo, watch a live show, see a geisha dance, and try a hot chicken dish. One more quick note about the food. In a hot pot, chicken was cooking together with vegetables. There was my favorite inari sushi, a matcha-based dessert, edamame beans, and even a drink included in the price. And yes, you can get refills of the food. Our show was scheduled very late in the evening, And honestly, after a full day of sightseeing, I was hoping we would somehow survive until the end. But just a few minutes in, we were laughing together with the entire audience. The host was hilarious, and the retired sumo wrestlers were absolutely fantastic. Besides their impressive fighting techniques, they clearly had outstanding comedic talent. Before coming to Japan, we prepared Alex for a culture known for calmness, silence, and emotional restraint, which is not exactly easy for a very energetic child. So when the host demonstrated how we should cheer for our wrestler, stomping, shouting, and banging on the table, our son was completely in his element. We had booked good seats in the audience, but for reasons we never fully understood, perhaps because we were the only ones there with a child, or maybe because of the number of cameras we carried, we were unexpectedly upgraded to a place right at the edge of the sumo arena, known as the dohyo. Watching the matches from this perspective was an incredible experience, not only for us, but for our cameras as well. The wrestlers had such a great sense of humor that we barely noticed when 2 full hours had passed. A few interesting facts. Sumo wrestlers usually weigh between 150 and 200 kilograms and eat just 2 meals a day, providing around 8 to 10,000 calories. Chanko nabe is their traditional hot pot, very similar to the one we were served during the demonstration. They live and train together in shared houses called heya, or stables, often from a very young age. If they do not achieve success, their earnings are very modest, making it difficult to even think about starting a family. Oh no! Asatubomi has almost lost his mawashi. The mawashi is the sumo belt. The cotton version weighs around 2 kilograms, while the silk belts used in tournaments can weigh up to 5 kilograms. The dance of a geisha is not entertainment, but a refined art form. Every movement, every gesture of the fan tells a story of nature, emotions, and the changing seasons. It is a dance of precision, silence, and meaning, learned over many years. With her restrained and deliberate movements, the geiko can truly hypnotize the audience. I only realized I had come out of this musical and dance-like trance when I found myself applauding. After the dance had ended, Asatubomi and Asanobori returned to the stage to show us which techniques are forbidden in sumo. No, this is not how you attack your opponent. And definitely not how you get your hair back. Pulling the hair is called kinjite, one of the 43 prohibited techniques in sumo wrestling. After our wrestlers' victory, it was time for competitions with the audience. Of course, the boys wanted to take part, but they drew the short straws, so we will have to try again next time. I could talk about this show for hours. It is truly something you need to see with your own eyes. Our second day in Tokyo, we decided to visit the Imperial Palace, which is still home to the Japanese Imperial family. Did you know that the Japanese Imperial family is the oldest continuously reigning monarchy in the world? More than 2,600 years of history. Although the emperor no longer holds real political power, he remains a powerful symbol of unity and continuity for the nation. Since 2019, the Emperor of Japan has been Naruhito. The Imperial Palace stands on some of the most expensive land in the world. In the 1980s, people joked that this area was worth more than the entire state of California. The palace complex was built on the site of Edo Castle, which dates back to the 15th century. Most of the original buildings were destroyed over time, including during the Second World War. Among them was a 58-meter castle tower, once the tallest structure in Tokyo. The tower was never rebuilt, partly to preserve the privacy of the imperial family. Tokyo is actually a relatively new capital of Japan. For centuries, emperors lived in the imperial palace in Kyoto. Only after 1868 was the imperial residence moved to Edo Castle, which had previously been occupied by the shoguns. It is worth remembering that in 1868, the city of Edo, meaning the entrance to the bay, changed its name to Tokyo, or the Eastern capital, when the emperor moved from Kyoto. In Japanese, to means east, and kyo means capital. The Imperial family appears in public only a few times a year, including on January 2nd for the New Year's greeting and on the Emperor's birthday. We could not bring ourselves to say goodbye to our guide Dylan, greetings to him, with whom we had truly fantastic conversations, but we already had tickets booked for one of Japan's 3 icons. Alongside Mount Fuji and sushi, one of Japan's national symbols is also the Shinkansen. Foreigners often call it the bullet train because of the shape of its nose and its ability to reach extremely high speeds, up to 603 kilometers per hour. The Japanese, a practical and economical nation, use the name Shinkansen, which comes from 3 words: shin meaning new, kan meaning main, and sen meaning railway line. Because we are terrible chatterboxes and time was running out, we were very grateful to run into Dylan's friend from Portugal, Miguel, whom we also warmly greet, who guided us through the underground passages of Tokyo Station. We completely underestimated the distance. The punishment for lacking humility toward Tokyo Station will be severe. After learning how to print the tickets, actually using them turned out to be just as complicated. We received as many as 6 tickets, and having no idea which ones to use, we could not get through the gates. A quick tip: if they give you 2 tickets, you put both tickets into the machine at the same time, including the return ticket. Eureka! 1 minute left! Run, run! We made it, but closed. Will they let us in? And it left. Well, it is a nice train. Fast. Inhale, exhale. Oh well, now I can tell you this. The Shinkansen is a symbol of punctuality. Its average delay is measured in seconds, not minutes. The Hayabusa that just escaped us, which means falcon, simply wanted to be on time. As we stood there on the platform like frozen statues, a very kind member of the staff approached us and handed us a small souvenir set, stickers and postcards with Shinkansen trains. A small gesture, but suddenly, your heart feels a little warmer. Shinkansen versus TRIPELERS, 1-0. But we will catch you, just wait. To lift our spirits a little, we headed back to the station, not without some trouble explaining why we were there again, to visit the Kirby Cafe and pastry shop, which Alex absolutely loves. And here comes something strange. At the station, almost everything is to go. You cannot really eat on the spot, so there we were, walking around with a bag holding a chocolate cake and cooling packs. Eventually, we managed to find seats at Starbucks and refueled the calories we had burned while running. We decided that one escaping Shinkansen would not ruin our mood. Instead, we chose to use the time for a visit to Akihabara Electric Town, on a mission to hunt for Pokemon cards. Akihabara Electric Town is a district of Tokyo known as a center of electronics, anime, manga, video games, and otaku culture. The word otaku, which originally means someone's home, describes a phenomenon of strong dedication to a hobby, most often manga, anime, video games, figurines, or collectible cards, and much more. In the past, otaku were seen as weird or socially awkward. Today, they are an important part of the economy and pop culture. They have deep knowledge in their fields and invest both time and money into their passions. Fan creations such as fan art, cosplay, and fan fiction are known all over the world. When we finally found a Pokemon card shop, Alex spent 20 minutes asking himself whether he was otaku enough to say goodbye to part of his pocket money and buy a card. It turned out that he is not, at least not yet. He prefers to keep saving for his investments. So we walked out with empty hands. Overstimulated after wandering through Akihabara, we decided to give Tokyo public transport one more try. When we realized we were going in circles, we returned to the mode of transportation that actually works for us: Uber. During the ride, let me tell you a little more about the flag of Japan. It is called Hinomaru, which means the circle of the sun. The red circle represents the sun, while the white background symbolizes purity, simplicity, and honesty. Japan has been called the land of the rising sun for centuries because from the perspective of China and Korea, the sun rises in the direction of Japan. We made it! The most famous crossing in the world, located right in front of Shibuya Station in Tokyo. It is also called a Scramble crossing because pedestrians can cross in every direction, straight ahead, diagonally, everywhere at once. Surprisingly, this layout increases capacity, reduces waiting time, and improves pedestrian safety. It is estimated that around 3,000 people cross during a single light cycle, and as many as 500,000 people a day. No wonder Shibuya Crossing has appeared in movies like Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift and Resident Evil. The crossing lasts only a few dozen seconds, and despite the massive crowd, nobody pushes anyone. Even people stopping to take photos are not a problem. I honestly do not know how the Japanese do it. Right next to the crossing, there is another restaurant from the Kura Sushi chain, and we had to stop there to make up for yesterday's missed game. This time, the line was long and the interior was not as pretty, but we cannot leave Tokyo defeated. After another act of parental sacrifice, Alex loaded all the plates eaten by the brave dad and started the game. Richer by one plastic capsule with a surprise inside, and parents heavier by a few kilograms, we moved on. If you want to find out how our race with the Shinkansen ends, subscribe to our channel and watch the next episodes from Japan. See you there! Time for the last attraction planned during our stay in Tokyo: sushi workshops. Day after day, we made the same mistake. Before experiences where we were supposed to eat properly, like a sumo dinner or sushi workshops, we stopped by Kura Sushi, hypnotized by those little plates moving endlessly on the conveyor belt. We were given a full set of ingredients needed to make our own rolls, and we got to work under the watchful eye of our patient instructor, Haru. The word sushi means rice seasoned with vinegar, and for centuries it was food for ordinary people, a kind of fast food that only became a premium dish in the 20th century. Sushi can be eaten with chopsticks or with your hands. No Japanese person will be offended. What you should be careful with, however, is soaking your roll in soy sauce, something very popular in our country, because it may be considered disrespectful to the chef. During Haru's brief absence, very proud of ourselves, we ate the rolls we had just made. When our instructor came back and asked about soy sauce, saw the empty boards, he grabbed his head in disbelief. We were still supposed to make nigiri sushi, and only after taking photos with our culinary masterpieces were we meant to eat everything. Well, mistakes are kind of our specialty. We can highly recommend workshops like this. You will find the link in the description. Besides learning practical skills, you get to take photos in a beautiful setting, use fun props, and share a lot of laughs with the hosts. Thank you for an amazing time and for your patience. At the end of the workshop, we received cards with fukudaruma, a traditional Japanese doll symbolizing luck, perseverance, and achieving goals. You are supposed to paint in one eye, make a wish, and when it comes true, paint the second eye, following the idea, I keep my eyes on the goal until I achieve it. To our surprise, Alex immediately painted in both eyes and said that he already has everything he could ever want. And how are we not supposed to get emotional after that? Still amazed by Tokyo, we stopped by a grocery store to stock up on snacks for the next part of our journey. Perfectly arranged products, fresh fruit and meat, everything looked incredible. We filled a large bag with snacks and drinks and paid the equivalent of $9, about the price of a small Lindt chocolate in San Francisco. If you are curious whether our next stop will be just as impressive, stay with us in Shimizu.
TRIPELERS. Like, subscribe, and hit the bell if you want to support us and see more quick travel reviews.